Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining us tonight on Spartan Nation Radio. We now go out to a guy who's no stranger on this program. In fact, I was laughing with someone the other day. This is the 12th year he's been on our show.
Wow.
He is a person who is a colleague as a journalist, but has really become my friend. I care for him deeply. He is a professional's professional, but he's also a great guy. And there is absolutely no one in Chicago, no one, who covers Northwestern better than him. He is in the program. I mean, there was even a kid who I grew up friends with his mother. She dated my brothers. I'm a friend of the family, and he broke his commitment before I could to Northwestern. That's how close he is to the program. You guys know him. You love him. He is the absolutely terrific Louie Vaccher from WildcatReport.com. You can follow him online at Wildcat Report. The best in the business. Nobody's better. The great Louie Vaccher. Louie, how are you, friend?
I'm great, Hondo. How are you? It's good to talk to you again. It's been a while.
It's always good to talk to you. You're my good buddy, and
Yeah.
I just appreciate you, Louie. I love to read your stuff.
Well, I appreciate that. And I always listen to your stuff, too. And 12 years, that's way longer than most coaches last in the Big Ten, I'll tell you that.
Unbelievable. Louie, I want to start. Michigan State is a dumpster fire right now. The offense is terrible. The offensive coaching is pitiful. Mark D'Antonio's coaching has been bad this year. It's in trouble. Tons of talent. The best defense in the country. But talent on the field for both sides of the ball, they're just struggling with coaching. Overall, we're going to get into the specifics. Overall, what's the state of the Wildcat program? Because I'm going to tell you the truth. I had them at number 12 in the country coming into the season. I thought they were going to win the Big Ten West, and man, they have, as I've said to you so many times, every year I have faith in them. They disappoint me. Every year I don't. They do well.
Yeah, you're kind of the barometer with that. Yeah, you can make money going against Hondo and his preseason picks. But it's funny. You're talking about Michigan State and all the struggles on offense. I'm looking at the numbers here. They're averaging 104 yards more per game than Northwestern is right now. Northwestern had a horrendous performance at Stanford. They're breaking in a new quarterback. It's taking them a little time to get adjusted. So their offense has looked pretty bad. Pretty bad week one. They were much better in week two, but they still left some plays out there, and they're going to have to be a whole lot better because, Michigan State's going to be a huge challenge with that, arguably the best defense in the country, and certainly against the run. They're going to be a handful. So we'll really see what Northwestern's got on Saturday.
You were at Coach Fitzgerald's press conference. Can you tell me what his general thoughts were?
It was a pretty standard press conference. He didn't have anything earth-shattering to say. I think he was pretty happy with Hunter Johnson's progress from week one to week two. He made a couple mistakes. He had a ball that he tried to force in, and it got picked. But he made some really nice throws. He only threw for 165 yards, but he had a 50-yard touchdown, so he flashed that big arm. And he had a few more that if Northwestern's receivers could hold on to the ball, he would have had probably 3 touchdowns. He would have had a heck of a day. So they've got to help him out a little bit. But, they ran the ball. They were missing Isaiah Bowser, their starting tailback, and they got very productive performance out of Drake Anderson, who's the son of Damian Anderson. You may remember him, former Northwestern great running back. And so he got 141 yards on Saturday, kind of his big debut. And they did a lot of good things. Defensively, they let up a couple big plays. Fitz talked about, they were just mental errors in the first half. They had a 65-yard touchdown run and a 37-yard touchdown run against them. And they got them fixed. In the second half, UNLV didn't do much of anything. So it was, light years better than week one, but they still got a ways to go. And, it's going to be a big step up in class on Saturday.
Louie, you know this. For whatever reason, Fitz and Northwestern have had Mark D'Antonio's number. Why is that?
Yeah, he was talking about that. He really didn't have an answer. What's funny is, this is the 11th meeting. So between D'Antonio and Fitz, they met 10 times, and it's 5-5. And D'Antonio won 4 of the first 5, and now Fitz has won 4 of the last 5. And it's funny, they played a lot of close games. You know, Fitz talked about they're kind of similar programs. They like to run the ball, play defense. You know, so there's a lot of close games there, and they usually come down to a play or two or a mistake or two, and that could go either way. So he didn't have any, you know, there's no magic potion or anything like that. He has the utmost respect for Mark D'Antonio and Michigan State and the way they play football. And I think it's going to be probably another tight game on Saturday. And, you know, Northwestern has really lit it up. The last, you know, they've won 3 in a row against Michigan State now, and they've averaged like 40 points. I don't know if these two teams, you know, they won't combine for 40 points on Saturday, I don't
No, I agree with you. If you want inside information on Northwestern, you want the best analysis, man, I love Louie. First of all, I'm going to tell you this. He is a great person. He's a great guy. I consider him a friend. But he's just a great journalist. He just really does a good job. You should be reading Wildcat Report. Louie, let's start on special teams. Give us a breakdown of the special teams for Northwestern, would you?
Yeah, you know, that was a really sticking point last year was the kicking game. They got their starting kicker, Charlie Kubander, got hurt last year. They brought in Drew Luckenbaugh, hit a game winner against Nebraska. Then he got hurt. By the end of the season, they had a punter that was doing the place kicking, and they somehow still won the West. And that's why Fitz was going on 4th down so often. So now Kubander is back. You know, he's healthy. He hit 2 field goals last week, which was got a lot of confidence back in him. In the punting game, you got Daniel Kubiak, is a 6th-year senior walk-on who came back, and he's looking great with the directional punt. He got you know, he pinned UNLV back at the 1-yard line on 1 kick, and he's looked very good. You know, they don't really get much out of the return game. Riley Lees is a guy I think could be dangerous as a punt returner, but you know, they don't field a whole lot of punts. They don't, you know, Fitz kind of, you know, he just wants to get the ball back efficiently, not give it up. So they don't do much in return game, but I think their kicking game is better this year than it was last year.
All right, let's turn our attention now to the offense. Give us a scouting report on your offense, please.
Well, the offense, you know, everybody's waiting for Hunter Johnson. He's the Clemson transfer. He was a 5-star kid, number 2 quarterback in the country in 2017. And, you know, people had really high expectations. And in the first week against Stanford, he had a rough go. You know, he looked like a guy in his 2nd year in an offense with his first start. He was a little wide-eyed. Things were moving pretty fast for him. You know, you could tell that. And, you know, last year, he was at Northwestern, sat out as a transfer, of course, but, you know, he was running the scout team every week, you know, so he didn't really get that many reps. And then he was in a battle with TJ Green through spring and into the fall, and they were going to probably rotate the guys, and then TJ Green got hurt against Stanford. So now it's his job, which I think will help him because he's going to get more reps and no more looking over his shoulder. He's going to be the guy. But he really, I thought he ran the ball really well Saturday. He had a couple big throws like I talked about. He still got some things to clean up. He still gets some happy feet, but, you know, he's just too talented. You know, he's going to develop. He's going to get there. It's just a question of when. And the running game last week looked pretty good, you know, and they're going to get Isaiah Bowser back this week. You know, he's a power runner. The offensive line has looked pretty decent, but, you know, like I said already a couple times, we're going to see how good they really are on Saturday because that front 7 for the Spartans is pretty ferocious. So, you know, they've got to stay balanced. It's going to be tough sledding, but they've got to at least try to run the ball to at least stay balanced. They can't just have Johnson throw the ball 40 times. They're going to have a rough go.
What about turning to the defensive side? What's your scouting report over there?
Well, this is you know, Northwestern's defense is pretty solid. They're kind of a bend but don't break kind of unit. Their strength is the front 7. You got Joe Gaziano, is you know, an all Big Ten caliber defensive end. He's probably going to play on Sundays. You got Patty Fisher in the middle. He's you know, he's another guy that you know, he could leave early after this season. Just a tackling machine, can play sideline to sideline. So that's their strength, the front 7. They're going to try to take away Michigan State's ground game and then in the passing game, they like to play that cover 4. They play kind of a soft shell, play deep, keep everything in front of them, and tackle you when you get the ball. That's going to be their MO. They'll let you move the ball. But if you're going to score, they want you to go 10, 12 plays, and they're willing to bet that, you'll have a penalty or a negative play or something put you behind the chains, and you won't be able to execute all the way down the field. That's kind of the way they play.
Be honest with me. Did you watch the Michigan State game against Arizona State?
I saw the highlights. I did not see the game.
Okay.
No.
Do you think Michigan State can run on Northwestern?
I don't think they're going to have a whole lot of success. They might run between the 20s. They'll Northwestern will let you run. They'll let you move the ball between the 20s. But once you get in the red zone, it gets pretty tough. So I think they'll have some success, but I don't think they'll be able to, win the game with that. And it's going to be really tough in the red zone.
All right, let's talk about coaching. I'm a guy who's all in on Fitz. I love Fitz. Tell us about Fitz and his staff.
Yeah, Fitz is, he is Northwestern, right? I mean, he's not only the face of the football program. I think he's the face of the university. He's a guy. He lived it. He's one of the greatest all-time. I would probably put him number 2 all-time great Northwestern players behind Otto Graham. I think he's probably number 2. And he had such a great career as a player. Now he's a coach. He's already the all-time winner, and I don't think he's going anywhere. He turned down the Packers last year. Didn't want to talk to him. So, this is his dream job. I don't think he's going anywhere. And I think the stadium will probably be named after him one day, or the field, or something like that. And his staff, they've had some turnover in the last few years, which I think has been a good thing. They've kind of infused a little bit of energy, some new ideas I think they needed. And they're really high on Curt Anderson, who's a former Michigan offensive lineman. Had a stint in the NFL and the SEC at Arkansas, and he's the new offensive line coach. And he's done a great job in recruiting, and I think eventually you're going to see a little more physical unit. And I think that's what Fitz wants. That's something Northwestern has lacked the last few years. The weak link has always been the offensive line, and I think they hope Anderson is a guy that can change that. I don't know if it's going to happen this year. It's usually you got to get your guys in there, and it's going to take some time. But that's kind of their weakest link, I think, the last few years, and that's something that they hope Anderson can remedy in the future.
How are field goals for you guys? Is Fitz enjoying kicking some field goals?
Yeah, he, like I said, Charlie Kubander hit a couple. He missed one in the opener, which was, everybody kind of groaned. It's like, here we go again. But Kubander, I think he looked good on Saturday, and he's a guy they gave a scholarship to right out of high school. They don't give a whole lot of those away, and he's a pretty talented kid. I think it was just coming back from his injury last season, and his mechanics are back, and I think they should be okay.
Louie, tell me about the new facility. Is it as beautiful as it looks, and how big of an impact is it having?
Oh, it's unreal. You got to see it, Hondo. You should try to get out there at some point and just take a tour of that place. It's a palace, the Fitz-Carlton they like to call it. It's sitting on the lake there. It's all glass. You got the wall to ceiling glass. It's overlooking the lake there. You got Chicago skyline in the distance. It's this ultra modern building. The weight room is immaculate, and it's huge, and it's just spectacular. It's something that you'd expect to see in Tuscaloosa or Norman, Oklahoma, or something like that. And the fact that it's in Evanston is unbelievable. It's really a state of the art kind of thing, and Fitz has called it a difference maker. And he talked about it's a championship commitment from the administration and from the donors to raise all that money, and they did win the West last year, so Fitz finally gave them the championship, and now we'll see if it can get them over the hump, and maybe they can win that game in Indianapolis the next time they get there.
Louie, it's early in the week, so you can change your opinion if you want, but I need a prediction, score and winner for Saturday.
Well, I'll tell you what, I've got a good feeling about Northwestern in this one. I think it's a pretty good matchup for them. I think, the what I've been telling people is the bad news is you're facing, the best defense in the country. The good news is, 10-point might win you the game, right? So I think that they can do just enough. They're a pretty good matchup. Northwestern is a team that's going to take what you give them, and they're going to just dink and dunk their way down the field. If that's what they have to do, they're pretty good at that. So I think they can, if they can run the ball just enough to keep them honest. They're not going to run for 250 yards or anything like that. But if they can just do enough to stay balanced, and Hunter Johnson can make a couple plays in the passing game, I think that they can get the win.
All right, you got a score for us?
Oh, I'm going to say it's low. Maybe let's go, how about, 17-13. I'll revisit that number, but it's going to be something in there.
I'm thinking somewhere, I was literally thinking 17-13, 14-13, and I don't know which way I'm going yet. That is the great, That is the great Louie Vaccher. They just don't come any better than him. Absolutely terrific person and an absolutely great journalist, the best covering Northwestern anywhere. We'll be back. Northwestern anywhere. We'll be back. Northwestern